The Red Sox swept the Braves earlier this week. Now, it was a 2-game series, right? So we don't have to call it a sweep, Braves fans. If it makes you feel better, we can just call it losing 2 in a row, right? That's not a losing streak. We call that 2 in a row. So we can go with that if you want, if it makes you feel better. Or you probably just don't even care because there's going to be bumps in the road along the way. You're going to lose a couple in a row. It's fine. That's the way it goes. That's life. But the way this series went, the Red Sox won Tuesday 7-1 and then Wednesday 5-3. Tuesday was a crazy game. There was a triple play, and there was a random, I think it was an 8-5-3 double play or something like, or 8-3-5 double play. I can't remember. Anyway, maybe that was the triple play. But there was some weird stuff going on in that game on Tuesday, and I feel like if you're the, I don't want to say inferior team because the Red Sox are a good team, but if you're not the superior team in a matchup, the best way to win is to tap into chaos ball, right? And I feel like the Red Sox tapped into chaos ball there a little bit and got things bouncing their way, and the Braves had a hard time recovering. So I think that had a lot to do with the Red Sox taking it to the Braves the way they did those 2 games. But let's look at these 2 teams coming out of this series because, like I said, super interesting. So the Braves are 64-36 going into Thursday, 3-7 in their last 10. That's a bad stretch. Okay, like we said, that's all it is. That's a blip. That's a blip on the radar. They still have a 10-game lead in the division. They're fine. They're going to be just fine. Now, if they go on and they lose 10 in a row, then you might have a little bit of a cause for concern, because that's what happened to the Rays. The Rays lost like 7 games in a row or something like that, and they've never fully recovered. They've relinquished the lead in the AL East, and they're sliding to the point where it looks like they might not be able to get it back. So who's to say? It'll be interesting to keep track of the Braves over the next week, right? I think if they can sort themselves back out in the next week, they'll be just fine. But if things start to slide, then really keep an eye on what's going on in Atlanta. Now, the Red Sox, on the other hand, the Red Sox are 55-47 going into Thursday, 6-4 in their last 10. They are a game and a half back in the wild card is all. 7 games back in the division, not out of reach. There's a lot of baseball left. We still have all of August and September to go. So there's got quite a ways, right? So no problem for Boston. If they continue to play like that, they could have it. This is the thing to me that is really, really interesting, is that Boston plays well against good teams. They're 40-32 against teams with a 500 record or better. The Orioles are the only team in the AL East who's better than that. So I don't know, this, it could be one of those really interesting things where the Red Sox struggle to win the games they're supposed to win, but they show up to the tough opponents, which I know, if you can show up against the tough opponents and you can beat teams over 500, you can beat the Blue Jays, you can beat the Orioles, you can beat the Braves, the Rays, right? If you can beat all those guys, you'll be okay when it comes time to come to October. But to get there, you've still got to beat the teams you've got to beat. And so 8 games over 500 is pretty dang good. But with as competitive as the American League wild card is this year, I don't know. Like I said, a game and a half back in the wild card. So they, at this rate, they could see themselves on the outside looking in. But if they take half a step up, they'll be fine. So keep an eye on the Red Sox. They're going to be really interesting the rest of the way.